When I saw Cassian on Narkina 5, I immediately thought one thing: George Lucas's THX 1138. So let's drill down into some of the similarities between THX 1138 and this episode of Andor. THX 1138 was George Lucas's first film, and it was actually adapted from a short film that he did at USC. The movie is really trippy if you've never seen it before, but the film takes place in a future where people live underground in a state-controlled society. The protagonist is THX 1138, and in the end, spoiler alert, he escapes the oppressive regime and finds freedom. So what does all this have to do with Andor? Well, a lot actually. First of all, there are a lot of visual similarities between the world, the dystopian world that we see in THX 1138 and the Imperial prison that we see on Narkina 5. Both take place in sterile environments where the rooms are all white and the prisoners are forced to wear white uniforms, which makes the guards in both THX and Andor, who are wearing all black, really stand out in these stark, monochromatic environments. In Andor, we learn that the Empire is using prisoners as captive labor and making them build machinery that the Empire will undoubtedly use against them. Similarly, THX is a factory worker who is helping to build the police androids that are ultimately oppressing him. Oh, hi, C-3PO. There are other small visual details, like the similarity in the numbers that we see and also just the overall set design. But the biggest thing is that the Imperial prison and the world in THX use their calm sanitary conditions and minimally invasive enforcement techniques to control their prisoners. Instead, they rely on the people being held captive to keep each other in line, like Andy's circus. That was a welcome surprise, although I did hear Snoke's voice every now and then. I'm not gonna lie, but I liked it. And in both Andor and THX, importance is placed on working hard and increasing productivity. Now, there is one big difference between these two. THX tried to show us what the future might be like, while Andor is holding up a mirror to things that are happening right now with the exploitation of incarcerated workers. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that THX 1138 might have influenced this episode of Andor, because after all, it's in the DNA of Star Wars. THX's influence is everywhere in A New Hope, including the story of a group of rebels and one hero in particular who decides to take on a fascist regime. This episode of Andor takes us back to Star Wars' roots and is a wonderful homage to George Lucas's legacy. Bill Willimon wrote this episode. He created and wrote House of Cards, and I'm sure he was not sitting there watching THX 1138 taking notes, copying it shot for shot. That's not, obviously. But the world that he and director Toby Haynes created is consistent with what we've seen in Star Wars. It's consistent with what we know of the Empire, what we always imagined the Empire was like in all of its brutality and how they controlled and oppressed the galaxy. And it also is showing us the risks that the rebellion had to take to fight it. I thought this episode was fantastic. What do you all think? Taking this time to show us this Imperial prison, to show us where our hero is at this point, is going to make that prison escape that's going to happen in episode 10, maybe, it's going to make that escape all the more exciting to watch. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.